You're on the six screens, teleporting the reputation, giving all the right ingredients, exposing the hardcore Watchtower Society.
Well, there you go. We had a little double soundtrack there, but that's all right. We're moving in the right direction. Hey, we want to thank everyone for coming into the six screens tonight. Really do appreciate your presence. We got a lot of people coming through here tonight. I'm not sure why. Usually on a holiday weekend is when we get a lot of people, but boy, I'll tell you, I'm very pleased to see the amount of people coming into the six screens here tonight. So let's take a look and see what's going on here. I'll just give you a little idea. My name's Rick Farron. I'm coming to you from the apostate capital of the world. That's right up here in Boston, Massachusetts. And, well, we've been doing this now going on 20 years. We're not going to give up now. We're going to keep moving in the right direction. Friends, I have to tell you, there's been so much to talk about in 20 years with the, reviewing all the stuff that's going on in the Watchtower. But I have to tell you, I've never seen it. Never have seen it like it is now. It's just absolutely unbelievable. And I have to tell you, I'm so pleased. I'm so pleased to see this organization collapsing. And I think you are too, right? I mean, if you're sitting out there listening to this program and you're a former Jehovah's Witness, or maybe even a PIMQ, you're questioning the organization, hey, you have a right to question them. Friends, I'm telling you, a lot of people are leaving right now. The Watchtower is cooked. Take it off the grill. And as I always say, the monkey died, the circus is over. And it's just getting so much critical news about the Watchtower coming across the internet. Well, we'll get into it. But before I do that, I just want to talk about a couple of things here. We have got, of course, we're going to have our duck tonight. We got the duck questions. This is the duck. See the duck? When the duck comes down, you win a prize. Now, you win points, but I'm leaving it up to you at the end of the program. If you have said a word, if you call in tonight and you have said a word that we have in a sealed envelope, then you will win a prize. You get points. Now, save the points. The points could get you up to $100 bonus. We have some gifts coming up, and the more points you have, the bigger the bonus you'll get. So save the points. We have books. You've seen the books, the Millions Now Living book. We have these books here, Captors of a Concept. Hold on one second. I think I got the wrong camera on. Just give me a second here. I'm not sure what happened there. Let's get the right camera on. For some reason, we lost a setting. Just give me a second to put the right camera on. Yeah, Anne-Marie kind of went on a little fast on me. I didn't get too much time to get organized, but that's good. She ended right about on time tonight. So that was good. So let me put the other camera on. I think you'll be able to see me better. All right. Why? Okay, our camera. Come make the camera. Hold on one second, folks. Let me get the camera over here. I don't know why it fouled up on us. That might be better there. All right. All right. That seems to be a little better, right? Now you can see me. Somehow the camera got switched. But that happens when you're on live programs like this. But anyways, let's get in here. Let's take a look. We were talking about the duck. When the duck comes down, and you have he'll come down we have in this envelope some words that my wife and I have chosen. And if you say it's usually related to Watchtower, and if you say one of these words, you'll win a prize. At least you'll get points for a prize. And we'll talk about that in a while. But at the end of the program, if no one got the points, we'll give you some clues. We'll give you some clues, and then you'll be able to answer and win the points. So that's good. So I also want to talk about the convention. We have got a convention, be the first of its kind. It's coming up a year from now. 2025. It's called the Still Alive in 2025 convention. So I hope you can make it up here. Now, let me tell you a little bit about it. Let me show you some pictures. We have a Hilton Hotel up here in the Boston area. That's where we're going to have the convention. We have room for it's just about 500 people. So the first 500 people, we're going to send these tickets out. Take a look at the ticket. Those are the tickets. Now they're all set to go. I talked to the Hilton this week. That's why I've been holding back. They had some little problems at the Hilton and they couldn't book a room until August, but you can now book a room. Now you're going to have to use the code FEARON, FEARON, and you'll get a substantial discount. Now, friends, I have to tell you, the rooms are not cheap. The rooms are about 170. In fact, they are $175 a night. And if you're staying 3 nights, that's a good chunk of change, right? But here's the thing: from what they told me, free breakfast is included, and it's a good breakfast. So some people have already made reservations. The Hilton told me people were calling in, and some people have made reservations. Now, if you made a reservation and they didn't let you use the word Farron for the code word, they said that they would honor that. So I know one person wrote me this week. He said he paid $375 for the room. That's way too much. So you get a substantial discount here. It's $175. So I talked to the Hilton, and those people that book rooms at a higher price, I was told that they'll rebate you the difference. So don't you worry. So you see the ticket. See the ticket right there on the screen. Still alive in 2025, August 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 2025. That's a year from now. It gives the address of the hotel. And now you notice there's a number on the bottom of the ticket, at the right bottom of the ticket, number 28. Now, that's where we are right now, but I'm going to send out a whole lot more. We're up to about 225 right now. So you'll be getting a ticket hopefully this week, but all those people have written me, you'll get it. I've just held back on it until I got all of the information I needed from the Hilton. So we got it. So now we're ready to go. So you'll be seeing your ticket this week. Don't worry if you don't get it. You'll get it in the next couple of weeks at least, but some of the tickets are going out by email. Those that don't have an email, you'll get it snail mail. But I just wanted to let people know that. Friends, it's a beautiful, beautiful hotel. It's walking distance. There's a Cracker Barrel. There's a McDonald's. There's a Wendy's. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. It's like brand spanking new. You'll really enjoy it if you come up here. Now, make it your vacation. Come up to Boston. Have you been to Boston? Oh, if you haven't, there's a lot going on up here. This is a cultural center. This is, where the Revolutionary War started. There's a lot of history. We have mountains. We have ocean, the Atlantic Ocean. So come on up to Boston. Spend a vacation. Bring the kids with you. And boy, we'll have a good time at the convention. And then maybe the week after, we can all spend a little time together, maybe going out and doing some things together. So let me bring this ticket out right now. Let me bring that off. Let me go down there and bring that out. Okay. So there I am. So you see the tickets. So we'll get those tickets out to you. Now, if you want a ticket, we're up to about 200 and I think it's 228 last time I checked. So if you want a ticket, write me at JW World News. The tickets are free. So write me at jwworldnews@gmail.com. I'll get your ticket. I'll email it out to you. And, some people written in, they want 4 or 5 tickets. So we're looking forward to having a really good time. Won't it be nice? Think about it. All of these people that have been touched by the tentacles of the Watchtower will be able to come together, shake hands, hug one another. We've all been in a cult. We're all going to have a good time and enjoy each other's company. So we're looking forward to that. All right. So let's move on here. We talked about the duck. We talked about the convention. Okay, let's move on. I just wanted to bring up something that I saw coming across Google News. A lot of you people probably get into Google News to find out about Jehovah's Witnesses, right? Do you do that? Do you check out all the news articles online? Well, Google is a good source to start. Google Alerts. And I found something that really caught my interest. And I'm going to put a picture up. And it really caught my interest. So let me get the picture up here right now. You'll see it. And I said, wow, that is amazing. There's the picture right now. Jehovah's Witness Con. Yeah, Jehovah's Witness Con. That was on Google Alerts. Look at that. There's a picture there. And the world is now finding out that the Jehovah's Witnesses are nothing but a con job. I mean, people are getting conned left and right. The article, I found it online. It's in a newspaper in the United Kingdom. Now, it's not like the New York Times, but nonetheless, it's there. And it showed up on Google search. And the more people hit the link, the more it will show up. Excuse me. So it's showing up all over the place. And it's dealing in the headline on the newspaper that came out. It's Jehovah's Witnesses are hypocrites and false prophets who are conning themselves. Yeah, it's not to the point they're conning themselves, but the world is now catching up on Jehovah's Witnesses. What a con job. Their image is getting tarnished. Really, think about it. Do you see much good news about the Jehovah's Witnesses? The Jehovah's Witnesses, at least all the news I see, very few positive pieces. You might get a puff piece talking about the conventions and how the Jehovah's Witnesses are coming in and spending all the money on hotels and restaurants, and the cities love them. Of course they would. But that's about all you see for good. But everything else is negative. So here we have this newspaper in London talking about Jehovah's Witnesses being con artists, being hypocrites. It's really, really good to see this type of stuff, but it's nothing unusual. I'm seeing a lot of this stuff as of late. So anyways, the article starts off, I'll get right to the punch here. It starts off saying the Jehovah's Witnesses are a morally stringent group. Well, I think most people listening to this program would say that. They are morally stringent. Oh, you can't do this. Don't do that. Everything's morally stringent in the Watchtower. And then it goes on to say that they're full of hypocrisy. And they have been noted for hypocrisy from people who got out of the Watchtower, as well as people who are just observing the Watchtower. They're seeing it too. The Watchtower might have conned us, being former Jehovah's Witnesses. We were conned. But what about the people that, in the world that see this aberrant, strange group? They see it as well. They see the Watchtower as very hypocritical. Now, their contradictions, what do they pertain to? Well, what has the Watchtower had contradictions about? Well, we know about their teachings, for one thing, their practices and their behavior. They contradict themselves all the time. They say one thing, they do something else, changing doctrine like crazy lately. Don't think the world isn't noticing that. And one of the things this article in the newspaper really highlighted was the doctrine of shunning. And they're saying it's a very controversial practice of Jehovah's Witness, the doctrine of shunning. And we know all about that. I'm not going to get into it that deep. But, if you're just listening for the first time, members are shunned when they leave the Watchtower. They lose all contact with their individual friends and relatives, even close relatives. So, the Watchtower is getting bad press on that. Of course, getting bad press all over the world. Now, what they did bring up here, and I found this very fascinating. This was a well-written article. I don't know if it was written by ChatGPT or what, but I really like the way this article was written. It says some members who commit serious transgressions are treated leniently due to their status or connections. Well, we know that. If you're an elder and you're in good standing and everyone loves you and you commit a serious sin, well, nobody really ever knows about it. You're not just fellowship. But then it says that the community has others that are disfellowship for minor infractions. Yeah, it's kind of like even the world realizes that it's kind of unbalanced. It's not equal across the board. If you're a somebody in the Watchtower, you get cut slack. If you're just a regular rank and file, forget about it. And then the article talks about blood transfusions. Well, I won't go into that. We all know it. The world knows it. They are now being criticized for their position on blood, on how people are dying all over the world, including children. So we all know about that. It also speaks about this article in the London paper, as I say. It speaks about Jehovah's Witnesses have come under intense scrutiny for the handling of child sexual abuse allegations. Well, we all know that. Now the world is knowing it. And what it is, it's one thing to have an organization that has sex abusers. I would say any large organization on earth, whoever they would be, whether it be the Boy Scouts, the Catholics, whoever it would be, they would have child sex abuse. These predators are all over the world, and they infiltrate such organizations. But the problem with the Jehovah's Witnesses, the biggest problem is they keep it secret. They hide it. They cover it under the rug. They don't go to the police about it. So they are criticized for the extraordinarily claims of not being able to report it. They don't report it. So that's one thing that's being exposed to the world. Isn't it great? The world is now catching up on Jehovah's Witnesses, and governments, Norway, Sweden, Denmark, France, Spain, Belgium, Japan. I mean, how many countries we need? There's more, but they're all now understanding the Watchtower is a very strange organization. Now, they also are politically neutral. Yes. Now, is that disturbing anybody? Well, when I was one of Jehovah's Witnesses, and I know it, we did not vote. We did not vote, but now we have a big election coming up, right? We got a big election. Excuse me. Forgive me, I got a lot of pollen out here today, having a hard time even talking. But anyways, they're known for their political neutrality. And when you were a Jehovah's Witness, you were politically neutral too. You didn't vote. I didn't vote. You couldn't vote. You couldn't even talk about politics. But as of late, there are a lot of witnesses talking about politics. And who do you think? I'm not going to get into a political discussion here tonight, but who do you think most Jehovah's Witnesses want to win the election? I won't have you guys answer that, but I'm going to tell you, the Jehovah's Witnesses are leaning toward. Now, I'm not saying this in a political way. People beat me up on it because I get into politics, but I'm just telling you, this is a news report about Jehovah's Witnesses. One of the big elephants in the room is the election. So I think we can bring it up without, rubbing anybody's, face in the dirt here. So who do you think Jehovah's Witnesses would vote for if they could vote? Trump. They want Trump. Now, yes. Now, the reason for that is Jehovah's Witnesses, at least in my way of dealing with them, and I've been in them for 50 years, they will lean, even though they don't want to talk about it, they will lean with the Christians, even though they're not Christians, they will lean to the Christian right. So, yes, indeed, most Jehovah's Witnesses do want Trump, but that's not, I'm not making that a political statement. Don't please write me tomorrow morning, Rick, you're bringing up politics again. Hey, every once in a while, I got to bring it up. I know politics and religion don't mix, but I'll tell you something that really irritates me about the Watchtower. Here they say to remain politically neutral. Yeah, don't get involved in politics, but yet they will lobby governments and political figures to secure the right to practice in their country. Did you know that? Even though they don't vote, they will lobby. I mean, that's a very similar thing, isn't it? You go to the government and try to coerce them. You try to make it so that they will pass certain legislation that will allow their presence and not have any problems with preaching. So, the Watchtower, even though we are politically neutral, they're not. They're not politically neutral. Now, financial transparency. The newspaper brings up financial transparency. The Organization of Jehovah's Witnesses, I'm reading it right from the newspaper. The Organization of Jehovah's Witnesses is known for its significant financial resources. Would you say the Watchtower organization has significant financial resources? Well, we all know they do. I'm preaching to the choir here, but they have heavy duty financial resources. And the Watchtower organization operates with minimal transparency. Yeah, they don't have to report to you. They're not a public company. They're a private company, but they operate with minimal transparency. It's very difficult to really tell where all their money is going. But we do know that members are encouraged to donate generously. Yeah, when we were witnesses, all of us, weren't we encouraged to do that? Yeah, we're shot at the assembly and we're thanking you ahead of time to make up the difference of $3,000-4,000. So we all reached into our pocket. So yes, the Watchtower organization encourages their members to donate generously with the promise that their contributions are used for religious and charitable purposes. They're lying to us. They are lying to us. They are liars. Do they really use their donations to further their charitable purposes? I don't know of it. I don't know of any. In fact, for 20 years that we've been doing this program here on the 6 screens, never has anyone called in and said, boy, I got help from the Watchtower. Now, they might have got help from a local elder, but I never, ever, ever remember anyone calling into this program and saying, hey, Rick, the Watchtower helped me put a new roof on. I was poor. I had a bad roof. No, it's not the case. So, they have a lack of detailed financial disclosures, and it's led to many questions of where the funds are, how they're managed, and how they're allocated. That's what's going on. Reports of lavish spending on properties and legal battles have further skepticism about the true priorities of the leadership. I'm going to show you some Watchtower property later. The world is catching up on them. They have you should see some of the property. I'm going to show you some of the luxurious apartment homes they have in London and all around England. I'm going to show you some of the IBSA real estate section here. That'll come up. I'll come up in just a few minutes and show that to you. But they have all this property. And, they're presenting themselves as a facade that they're following biblical principles and integrity. Far from it. They have a history, according to the paper that I'm reading here. Boy, what a bad, tarnished image this newspaper in London is showing of the Watchtower. A history of failed predictions. Do you agree to that? Do you see the Watchtower has a history of failed predictions? Of course they do. You all know it. Jehovah's Witnesses, through their leadership, have made several significant predictions about world events, particularly regarding the end of the world of Armageddon. Well, look I was in it for 50 years. Some of you people out there were in it probably longer than I was. But we all know that one of their claims to getting new adherents is telling people that Armageddon is right around the corner. Come on, get into the organization. You don't want to die at Armageddon. Friends, they've made several significant predictions of world events that never came true. Never, ever came true. And it's so disturbing. When I get in here and look at this, so plenty of false predictions all over the place. They have a history of failed predictions, and that has undermined their credibility. In other words, if you would keep saying that something was going to happen and it didn't, don't you think that would undermine your credibility? Of course it would. I mean, come on, folks. You guys can wake up and smell the coffee. Though the Watchtower has been doing this for years. So now the world is starting to look at the Watchtower and they're starting to question their credibility because of all of their failed predictions. I mean, how often can you say that? I could go into all of these failed predictions. I don't have the time to do it, but it goes on and on and on. The return of Christ, going all the way back to 1874. The invisible return of Christ was supposed to happen. And then, of course, Charles Taze Russell, he came into the scene and he was bringing out that in 1914, the end of the Gentile times would end and would usher in a brand new system. Well, we all know that these predictions the Watchtower has made is that they're not true. And Rutherford as well, where there's building Beth Sareem and the prophets of old were to come back. We all know that's not true. So, I mean, there's a lot of things. I mean, we can all do that. Now, I think, in fact, even here in modern times, when I think of one of the biggest failed predictions, and even this article in this London newspaper even brings it up. How about the 1975, the 6,000 year chronology? Oh my goodness. Well, we know back in the late 60s and early 70s, the Watchtower organization heavily promoted the idea that 1975 would mark the end of 6,000 years of human history since the creation of Adam. Do we all buy that? Well, many Jehovah's Witnesses did, and they were actually looking for 1975 to usher in the millennial reign of Christ. But when 1975 came, without incident, it led to significant disappointment and a notable decline in the membership of disillusioned followers of the organization. So, this is a great article. I really love the way it's written, friends. It exposes the Watchtower really right to the point. And then it even gets into the generation of 1914. I mean, how can we debate that? How can you even stop and think, well, that's nothing to sneeze about? Are you kidding me? The generation of 1914. Remember that? It was a generation in 1914, those who witnessed the events of 1914, that'd be WW1 and all the problems the world was going through. The Watchtower claimed that those who witnessed the events of 1914 would not pass away before the end came. Friends, it's now 2024. Is there any witnesses out there? 110? Any that you know of 110 that are still around? They all passed away, but they kept moving the goalposts, right? They kept moving it up. I mean, the failed predictions of Jehovah's Witnesses have been a significant source of controversy and has led to considerable criticism, both from outside observers and from former members. Don't you love to hear that? That is music to my ears. I hope it's music to your ears. The world is catching up on these bums. It's not just us. I'm sitting here and you're saying, Rick, you're bloviating here tonight. It's not just me bloviating. The whole world knows about Jehovah's Witnesses. They have a very, very tarnished image. But now this is quite a long article, but I'm gonna tell you what I found very fascinating. I never heard this term, but I'm gonna steal the term. I like the term. The newspaper calls the Jehovah's Witnesses a capitalistic cult, or actually a capitalist cult, not capitalistic, but a capitalist cult. Are they a capitalist cult? What? I underlined that in green because when I think of capitalist, I think of money. Money's green, right? So I'm thinking of money, so I have it underlined in green. But that really got my attention. A capitalist cult. Now, the world is catching up on them. What is a capitalist cult? Well, that's another layer of criticism that's addressed to the organizational structure concerning its financial operations, leading many in the world to actually describe the Watchtower organization as a capitalist cult, a money-loving cult, capitalist to the highest order. Now, this term, capitalist cult, suggests that the group, while maintaining the facade of a religious community. In other words, most people think of the Jehovah's Witnesses, right, as a religious community. And it operates in many ways like a profit-driven corporation. I've often thought of that. I've often said that the Jehovah's Witnesses is nothing more than a business masquerading as religion. You've heard that statement before. Well, that's exactly what the Jehovah's Witnesses are. And they're maintaining a facade, a false feeling, a false look, so to speak. Do you know what a facade is on a building? It's kind of like an ornamental structure that makes the building. Sometimes you'll see like added little dormers that are hung up by, 2x4s holding them up. It's not real, but it's just to make it look good. It dresses it up. So we have the London newspaper here referring to the Watchtower as maintaining a facade of a religious community. They're a business. They're a profit-driven corporation. Now, let me just give you some thoughts on this. When you stop and think about it, well, we'll get deeper into that in a second. But the organizational structure, the Watchtower structure, is all about control. Jehovah's Witnesses are governed by a centralized leadership known as the governing body. This is really how they're able to pull the wool over the people's eyes and how they can collect so much money. The group exercises tight control over the organization's global operations, including the production of literature, financial management, and doctrinal enforcement. So this is the reason why the Watchtower has been grabbing a lot of dough lately, in the last 20 years, selling real estate and what have you off. It's because they have tight control over its global operations. Its centralization mirrors corporates hierarchy. Well, let me just say that again. I'll slow down when I say it. Its centralization mirrors corporate hierarchy. In other words, the way that it operates, it mirrors some of these big companies you see on Wall Street. It's very similar how they operate. Of course, they try to fool the world into think they're religious body and they're doing everything for Jesus and Jehovah. They're not. They mirror, or they look like, when you get deep in looking into deep financial aspects of the Watchtower, it mirrors corporate hierarchies. Now, what does that mean, hierarchy? When you have a hierarchy, the information comes from the top, which is like, look at it like a pyramid. So at the top is the hierarchy, and it's a top-down approach, ensures that directives are followed without question. So you have certain positions in the Watchtower that, okay, so you have the governing body, then of course you have the zone servants, then you get people involved in regional aspects of the Watchtower, then you get the circuit overseers, you get all these little henchmen in between. So they make sure that it's hierarchically followed. You follow the governing body. Even though they don't like to be viewed as that, that's what they are. You cannot look at it's just like a duck. If it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it's a duck. That's exactly what the Watchtower is. Now, revenue generation. Does the Watchtower generate revenue? Oh, I'm so glad this article in the London paper, I'm so glad that it deals with the financial revenue generation of the Watchtower. Now, the financial model of Jehovah's Witnesses relies heavily on donations from its members. Well, we all know that. We all gave money, right, when we were witnesses, even when we didn't have money. I found myself digging into the pockets and giving it to the Watchtower because they encouraged us. Well, we felt like Jehovah was encouraging us to contribute regularly. Now, these donations, well, they say that they helps them in the production of literature, construction of kingdom halls, and missionary work. Additionally, the organization owns and operates numerous printing facilities worldwide, producing vast quantities of religious publications. The scale and efficiency of these operations resemble those of a large publishing corporation rather than a simple religious group. See, so the world is catching up on the Jehovah's Witnesses. And we all know Jehovah's Witnesses Watchtower has a significant investment in real estate. Oh, my goodness. They own and manage large portfolios of property, including kingdom halls, assembly halls, residential complexes for members working at their headquarters. Let me show you something. I want to show you some of these residential complexes. Just give me a second here to find where it was. And I want to see if we can't get that up so that you'll be able to see it. Just give me a second here. Residential complexes, IBSA. If you ever wanted to see residential properties, very expensive properties, okay, let's do this. I think I can do this. Okay, just give me a second here to get this. All right, let me first of all go back to my StreamYard. I want you to see some of these expensive properties that the Watchtower owns over in London, and they have some here too. They have some in New York City and Brooklyn. They still have multi-million-dollar brownstone apartments that they own. They own a whole lot of money. It's all on your donations. Let's see if we can't get this up. I want you to see this. Let me share the screen. Let me go over here. IBSA, property, IBSA. Now that's over in England. And let's see if we can't get this up. I'd love to have you see it. Come on up. Okay. Let's see if we get that up. Hold on one second. All right. Let's see. Well, I wish that would show. Friends, it's showing these expensive apartments. If IBSA, why is that not coming up for me? Sometimes you get into this stuff and it just doesn't click for us. Okay, let me just go. Give me a second here. Sometimes, when you're doing this stuff on the wing, right? I had it all set up and then it didn't come through. IBSA. Okay, let's go over here. Let's open this up. Let's see if we can't see this now. Just give us a second here. And I'll get this up so you can see some of these expensive. These things are luxury apartments that the Watchtower owns in London and all over the United Kingdom, really. So let's see if we can't get in there and see it. And I think that's the one right there. Let's bring it down. I'm going to go back and let's share this right now. Sometimes it's very difficult doing some of this, but we're trying the best we can. All right, let me share this right now. I'm going to do this, share, and then we'll bring this up. All right, now hopefully you'll be able to see this, and let's see what that happens. Okay, let's open it up. All right, I think you can see some of this probably. Okay, let's make sure you can. Now these are expensive properties. Okay, it's not coming up, folks. I don't know what to do. I'm sorry. I want to show it to you, but you've seen them before. If you really want to, I'm going to give you the website. If you really want to see the properties, it just won't pull up here for me. But if you want to see, go to IBSA Property, IBSAproperty.com /# about. IBSAproperty.com /# about. And you'll see the properties. It's not letting me put them here on the StreamYard, but it's something to see. They're beautiful, the big, expensive, luxurious apartments the Watchtower owns. And I have to tell you something. They own property like that all over the world. It's not just in London. So they have significant investments in real estate all over the world. All right, so plus the other thing, the article even brings up that they are tax exempt. Now, this exemption allows them, that is the Watchtower, to accumulate wealth without the same fiscal responsibilities faced for profit companies. Yeah, so they make all this money. And yet at the same time, they don't have to pay any taxes. Well, let me get here. Someone wants to see, okay, Rick, which newspaper and the date, please. Okay, I'll put a link up to that. Okay, I'll put a link up to it. As a matter of fact, go over here. I'll give you a link. Okay, I'll put a link up when it goes up on YouTube. Check it out. I'll put it in the description bar. So when it's uploaded, you'll see it. I can't do it right now, but I'll give you a link to it, and you'll be able to see it. So let's keep going here for the news. Let's take a look and see where we are with that. So the newspaper It's not a big newspaper, friends. It's not like the New York Times, but nonetheless, it made the newspaper. It's like a news article, and it made that. And the more people click on it, the more hits it will get on Google search, right? So I'll put the link up. In fact, when the program's over, I'll put the link up so it's in the description bar of my YouTube video that's up here right now. All right, so let's take a look here. All right, anyone have any thoughts at all? Anyone have any thoughts at all on what we just talked about? Isn't it good seeing the Watchtower exposed like that? Would someone like to come in and say hello and say, hey, Rick, I think this is good? What are you guys? Are you guys seeing stuff out there? Are you seeing things that are really exposing the Watchtower? Don't you think it's a wonderful thing? I'm happy. I mean, this was not always the case. You know, when we first started 20 years ago, there weren't newspapers and articles exposing. So go ahead, you're on with us. Let's go to 208. Go ahead, 208.
Yeah. Hey, Rick, it's Dan. Is that who you got here?
Yeah, I get you, Dan. Yep.
Oh, yep. I was going to say, Rick, they are taking these money and funneling into these homes. I had somebody the other day send me a bunch of pictures too of all kinds of links of property these guys own all over the world, buried under multiple names. And somebody was just digging them up. Somebody was sending them to me. She didn't want to be known, but I'll send them to you. It's probably the same thing you're looking at, but it was tons of stuff. And I was like, oh my God, but here's one thing I saw the other day. Me and Angela went to the Sunday afternoon part of the assembly. Rick, they're not putting any money back into the assemblies. The assembly was a piece of shit. There was nobody there. Think about this, Rick. Last year, there were 3,600 people at the assembly, right?
Yep.
For Idaho. This year, there was 1,600 people. It was an embarrassment. I don't even know how they paid for the facility. It was in a nice hotel. There was a hockey thing in a really nice hotel downtown Boise. But Rick, it was half full. The graphics, everything on the scene, you could hardly read the screens. It was horrible. Junk videography. So what I saw, Rick, is they're not putting any money back into the org. They're just getting these idiots lined up on their tablets, internet connection. The governing body did all their pre-recorded talks. They were all pre-recorded. Loesch, I'm going to tell you something, Rick. Loesch looked like he was forced to do the talk. He did the closing talk, and he looked like he was forced to do it. It almost looked like somebody says, okay, pick your hands up, gesture time. He looked sleepy. He looked like a person that smoked. He looked tired. I mean, Rick, it was pathetic. And we're like, man, look at this. Look at how it's gone. I don't even know if it'll be here next year, Rick. There was so much about Jesus, Lord Jesus, King Jesus, Jesus this, Jesus that. And then Loesch says this at the end, Rick. I know I don't want to talk too long. But Rick, Loesch said at the end, I bet you're all excited to see the drama for next year. It was worshiping baby Jesus. If that don't run those guys off, nothing will. It was Jesus in the stomach and the glowing, and people were falling on their knees, and Jesus coming down, in a cloud, and the angels. It was all about worshiping Jesus as King, as Lord and King. And I mean, I snapped some pictures with the thing saying, Jesus, what did it say? Jesus is the way, Jesus is the truth, Jesus is the light. It was just like a fundamentalist Christian church, Rick. I am not exaggerating in the least. There was nobody there. 1,600 people in Idaho. This was their district convention. It was smaller than a small convention, the little district one. This was the big convention here, and there was only 1,650 people. What do you think about that?
Well, I have to say that's not a lot of people. In fact, that would have been a regional convention, Dan, and that's not a lot of people. But I'm going to put up on the screen right now. I'm going to show you. I went to the 3 weeks ago today. We were over there in Lowell, Massachusetts, and that's what it looked like. Now that auditorium right there that seats 6,500 people. I sent two people into the convention, and it was announced there was 2,300 people, I believe it was. So you can see all of the empty seats. So Dan, what you're saying, you're right on with that. I'm getting reports coming in from Long Beach, California. I'm getting them coming from London, and it's all the same. It's all the same.
I don't think.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think, Rick. I know I'm stretching this, but I don't think next year there's going to be a convention. It was that poor. I'm telling you, the video productions, everything was just lousy. Now, we weren't there all the days, but we were there the last half of the last day, right after lunch. We watched the last 2 hours of it. Nobody's motivated. Rick, people are depressed in there, man. I'm telling you, people are depressed. Just think about that, Rick. Half the people were there from last year. There was 3,500 last year. They rented a rink a third the size. It was half full, and there was 1,600 people, and they're pushing Jesus. How can it be there next year? I think, Rick, when I watched Loesch speak for 45 minutes, it was so boring. He was so tired. There was no enthusiasm. I can't see anybody hanging around. I think that people are going to go home and go, what the hell did we just witness? What the hell? You know what I mean? I think people are going to go home and say, because we talked to different people and mentioned it to them, kind of put it into their ears, some of the people in the street cart witnessing, and said, what do you think about the Jesus convention? What do you think about the Christmas song? Oh, and that's the other thing, Rick. They played that damn song 4 times. Was it 4 or 3? 3 times in 2 hours. They played it during intermission. They played it to open up, and they played it at the end, the good news song. And it's all about Jesus and, in the manger. And they played it over and over. I didn't think they'd play it. As an observer, I thought they're not going to play that song. They've already gotten all this hassle online. Rick, they played it over and over and over. And I was just observing the people. Like, are they really accepting this? I didn't see it, Rick, honestly. Did you, Angela? Didn't you think that people were depressed? Yeah. Angela said she thought the sisters were depressed. But what would you say, Rick, if you were in there from last year? They were in a big arena, the Budweiser or whatever arena down in Nampa, and then you went this year, and it was half the amount of people in a tiny-ass skating rink. Wouldn't you, think, what the hell is going on here? What's all this Jesus stuff? Was it Jesus when you were in there, Rick?
Oh, no. There was nothing about Jesus. So what spin would you put on that? Why would you say they're talking about Jesus, Dan?
I hate to say it, Rick. I say it every week, and I'm going to say it again, and I believe it so. I think, and I believe with all my heart, they want the witnesses to go away so they can sell the rest of the property. Rick, half the people were there. That means more halls can go. I'm having a lot of people write me that are people that are just out, and they're like, oh my God, we wondered, when we saw the video, why about selling the Kingdom halls. They're like, shit, we're driving an hour. I'm getting this almost every day. My God, we're driving 45 minutes. So Rick, I would be like, I'm out of here. I keep thinking these people are going to go home and say that was horrible. There wasn't a lot of paradise stuff in there, Rick. It was such a junk job. They're not putting, here's the thing, they are not putting any money back into this thing. It's like a business. They're not putting money into it. It's shit. It's an internet connection. It's a tablet. They've got the people trained. They've got them on tablets. They've got them on the internet. They're branding the tithing, give, and then it's over. I think they said 10 different ways to give at the end of the assembly. You can give like this, and you can give like this, and you can give like this, and you can give like this. And if you need help, we have people that will help you, hook up your bank account and do all this stuff. They said that during the convention. So I don't know, Rick. I think the people are realizing there's nothing there. And honest to God, when I watched Loesch talk, I said, he was, what do you say? He was so lifeless, wasn't he? Rick, he was like the living dead. It was almost like they said, it's your turn. And he's like, I'm not going to go up in front of that damn camera. It's your turn. I mean, he was, Rick, you almost had to pick up his hands. He'd say, we got to hold on. And then all of a sudden his hands would come up and he'd squeeze like he's, and I'm like, he forgot to do his damn gestures. And it was over and over like this. And I thought, Rick, I swear to God, if I was a betting person, I would bet that they're trying to push the people out so they can sell the halls. there's nothing left, Rick. Those guys are not bringing anybody in with those carts. We've seen the pictures. They're just standing out there. They don't talk to you anymore. You saw my video. They don't talk to you. They just say jw.org, jw.org. They won't answer any questions. We did a little cart. It wasn't really a cart crash, but we asked some people to talk to them, and they said jw.org. And we said, we don't want to talk to jw.org. We want to talk to you. And they told us to leave, and we said we weren't leaving. And so they packed up and left. And then we were in a coffee shop the day before, and there was all these witnesses spread out with their Bibles. And I said, what do you guys do with your Bibles? I said, you guys don't use Bibles anymore. You use the tablets. And she goes, oh, blah, blah, blah. And I said, okay, I know what you're doing. You're in here showing everybody you're having this massive Bible study. The only problem is you're in the middle of a concert, and you're in the middle of an art show. And so I started questioning her about different things, and she got pissed. I'm telling you, the veneer on these people, you were mentioning a facade, the veneer on these people covering their anger is horrible. This lady was so pissed. I said, what? I said, she goes, we love you, we love you, we love you. And I said, yeah. I said, that's not what I see. I said, I believe you may, or maybe the organization maybe is telling you guys to say that. But I said, from what I saw with Tony Morris, when he said the maggots were going to eat my body and blow up my match, I said, that wasn't cool. I said, don't you think he's a psychopath? And then she looked at me all crazy, and I said, what about Tony saying babies are an enemy of Jehovah? And she goes, I think you got problems with the organization, and you need to work that out. But I love it here. And I didn't go any further. I get to say, well, what do you love? Lying and false prophecy? And because we talked about all that while they were sitting there, and they were all getting nervous. And anyway, they packed up. So in 2 days, we had 2 people we run out of Caldwell. Really, we just questioned them, and they're like, jw.org. So 2 people, and we haven't seen them since. So we think the little bit of resistance is pushing them out. But Rick, they're not preaching. And if you're preaching jw.org, you're going to have people in your face. If you're pushing false prophets and you won't give any explanation, you're going to have people in your face. You're going to have people come up to you with their camera in your face and say, what are you doing out here? Why are you guys promoting governing body? Why are you promoting falsehood? You know 75 happened. We asked that lady, what about 75? What about the generator? We're out of here. Get out of here. Go away. And they're pissed. It's like, here's the thing, Rick. You got some answering to do. If you're out there promoting falsehood, if you're promoting bad investments, if a whole bunch of people made a bad investment and you're still promoting the same investment, you can answer to people. You can answer to me. You can answer to Angela. You can answer to anyone. So a lot of people now, Rick, are going up to these people and say, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about the Australian Commission? What do you think about pedophiles? What do you think about your meetings and dress codes? And what do you think about, jw.org? And we've told them 3 times, 3 different groups, 3 different carts. We don't want to talk to jw.org. We have no interest in jw.org. So our next ones will probably be more poignant, which is, how can you guys preach out here and false prophesy when this stuff's been proven? There's a track record of falsity, and you guys continue to preach. Why are you doing that? That'll be our next question. Anyway, Rick, I probably took up enough time.
Well, no, we all enjoy listening to you, Dan. But boy, I'll tell you, thank you for going there and reporting on what's going on. My goodness gracious! But we're hearing this from people that have been going to the conventions. It's the same thing, Dan. We're hearing the same thing.
It's all true, Rick.
Yeah.
Nobody's fabricating. Nobody's lying. I was there with my own eyes. I heard the number. It was 1,600, which was half, Rick, half, 50%. And I'm telling you, people are shocked. People were seeing it online, and they were going, what the hell? People are going, something is happening to Watchtower. Angela wants to say something, Rick.
Yeah. Hello, Angela.
Hi, guys. Hey, I just wanted to say that this lady, that she sent all kinds of documentation about where the Watchtower's been taking their money to, which you heard some of it from Quinn Wright a while back, but she really showed that IBSA, that they literally are sending money to another church. So that's, anyway, all kinds of other entities, but one is a church. So unbelievable. Just hiding behind this veil where they're sending their money where we have no idea what they're really doing. Just like Worldwide Church of God, they were doing all the same exact things before the California state started, so that we are suspecting that you guys are doing things with your money that the people don't know about. It's misuse of their tithe money. And they did a state takeover of it, and what is it called, conservatorship, I think they called it, and took them over and investigated for a long, long time. And eventually, not too long after, they folded up their doors, closed up doors, and it was the end of them. So anyway, interesting.
Well,
Yeah.
very interesting. And Angela, I want to commend you for working along with your husband and at least wanting to go to the convention. That was nice of you. Thank you for doing that. That was good.
Yeah, Angela, I want to say one more thing. And I want to say one thing, too. Tell everybody, keep up the good work. This is working.
Yeah.
All of this, everybody is working. Here's Angela.
Yeah, and I guess I just want to say this, Rick. You guys, the reason why I come on here and pitch in, first of all, is because I grew up in the Worldwide Church of God, which is so similar to Jehovah's Witnesses. And then I married this guy who's a Jehovah's Witness, so similar to what I grew up in. And it was different enough that I wasn't afraid to go there, to dig, to see what's wrong, to investigate. And so in a way, I was investigating my own church. And so the way that you guys have been treated is how we were all treated in so many different ways. And so to me, you're me and I'm you, and we're all going through this together. And so the better I get and the stronger I get, the more I can help these worldwide church people, because they're so into the law that if you try to say anything at all against, I don't know, why I eat pork or something like that, they just go ballistic, and they have a million scriptures. They kick us women, they hammer us down to nothingness. And so no one will talk. No one will discuss these hurting things that they feel so strongly about. And so that's why I come on here gladly. If I can pitch in and help, that's why I come on. And I love everybody, all of you guys. And I love the people in my church too, but I haven't known how to help. However, because you guys all gave me a voice, and Rick, you did too, that now I have ability to speak out. And I just did my first show the other night of a series beginning on all the things that keep us all stuck and bound, and the different aspects of the Worldwide Church of God that keep us all bound like hooks. Like Dan's always talking about hooks, so you got to get the hooks out. So now I'm ready, and I'm telling you what, I'm ready. And I've got my own station, my own channel, everything. So if they mess with me, all I got to do is say, bye-bye, please, and they're gone. You know, I don't have to argue if I don't want to, but I'm kind of excited to do so, because I'm very sure of what I believe in now, thanks to everyone's support, including all of you guys that gave me a voice and gave me ability to say what hurts and what's wrong and speak it. And it's what we got to do. And so I'm empowered now, and I'm ready to go. So thank you. And I really do care. I really, really do.
Well,
know that.
we love you, Angela. You're doing a good job. You really, really are. We're proud of you. You're really moving forward. I see a lot of people on here already writing in our chat box here, in our chat of YouTube. They're watching your channel. So keep up the good work. You're doing great. Thank you.
Thank you, Rick.
Thank you, Rick.
All right. So, but I wanted to bring up too. Dan said he saw a lot of empty seats. I saw a lot of empty seats. The convention I went to 2-3 weeks ago. But these are I'm going to give you some excuses. I'm going to give you some excuses why they're saying the seats are empty. One man wrote me. He said, Rick, on the way out of the convention, I believe it was in Missouri, he says there was an elder at the door, and the elder said, don't you wish there were more here, brother? And of course, the brother had to kind of, it would be good if there was more here. Well, they're all on Zoom. They're making up excuses. And then another woman, if you can believe, if you listen to this. Now, another woman was caught saying the reason why there's empty seats is Jehovah is blessing us. He wants us to be able to relax and not have to worry about finding a seat. So that's a provision from Jehovah. I mean, can you believe that? That's what they're saying. It's nuts. It's absolutely nuts. Well, anyways, you're on JW World News. That's the news. The Watchtower doesn't want us talking about. But what do you think? Did you go to a convention like Dan and Angela? Did you witness something that was a little unusual with the witnesses in the last month or so, in the cart work or something? Why don't you speak up? Go ahead, hit *6. Would love to hear from you. Do you have something to say? If not, we'll move to the next story. But I mean, what would you have to say? Is there anything that you have been touched by the tentacles that you'd like to speak about here tonight? Do you agree with that paper article, the newspaper article in London that I was just reading? Boy, all of the bad press coming against the witnesses. this is so enlightening. You know, when we first started this, I don't want to sound like a dinosaur here, but when we first started this 20 years ago, there wasn't this type of bad press. Everything I heard about the Watchtower was nothing but good. You know, the conventions and the Chamber of Commerce and the witnesses are bringing money in. But boy, I'll tell you, there was nothing cynical back then. And, you know, when I'm thinking about it, things that got us out of the Watchtower were different than the things getting people out today. When I got out back in 2005, Satan kicked me out of his organization. I was just fellowship for apostasy in 2005. But it's different today. This is different. I'm seeing things happening here in the Watchtower organization I could have never dreamed about. I knew they were collapsing, but boy, I didn't think they were collapsing this fast. Hey, let's talk a little bit more here tonight for our news articles. I got sad news to report. I got sad news to report. You know, you guys have always heard me come on here, and I talked about Atlantis. And Atlantis was nice enough to give me information, reminders, and announcements and reminders. Now, we all talked about that for the last 3 or 4 years. And Atlantis would send me information, but he sent other apostates information too, like Mike and Kim and others. So I'm not the only one, but he was very nice to share this. Now, Atlantis, I did speak with him once, and he did have some connections with some officials of the Watchtower. And he was like an undercover agent. And he would send me, as well as others, like I say, send us information on what the announcements and the reminders would be in the Kingdom Hall. Now, you all remember that, right? In the service meeting, you had reminders and announcements. And we always, you know, had our ears perked up. What's the Watchtower saying next? Well, Atlantis would give me that information before the witnesses even got it. He got it from people he knew higher up in the Watchtower. But sad to say, Atlantis, his name is David. I don't mind saying it now. I didn't want to really report it before. But David is his name. He went by the name Atlantis. And something terrible happened to Atlantis. Something very terrible. In the last 4 days. 4 days ago, he had a real problem with his health. He is under care right now, specialists who have described his condition as brain damage from an eruption of blood from his liver that went straight to his brains and then out of his eyes. Now that sounds terrible. Out of his eyes, nose, and mouth. Friends, I was so sad. In fact, I'm still sad. It knocked me off balance all day long, to be honest with you. He was such a good man, and now he's basically brain dead. He shared so much with me, and Mike and Kim and other apostates as well. And I really do. It hurt me when I read that this morning. You see, cancer is a terrible thing. And I guess that's what they're saying it was. But cancer has no mercy. David cannot speak anymore. He cannot hear anymore and stares off into space and cannot recognize anyone. Isn't that sad? And this man helped me so much. I want to thank you, David, known as Atlantis. And I did. I thanked him. I wrote to him before while he was still able to connect with us. David's memory also was gone. He can't remember anything. And they have to actually spoon feed him. And just, friends, just stop and think about this. It's we have someone that took a real concerted effort to spread the news about the Watchtower, how dangerous, how destructive they are, and was feeding us apostates valuable information. And his condition is becoming worse every day, and they feel that he's going to go into a coma and perhaps die. So, David, I know you can't understand what I'm saying here tonight. You wouldn't be listening in. But my prayers, and I hope your prayers too, go out to David Atlantis for all the help that he gave me here on the 6 screens. Really was an instrumental part of our program here for the last few years, really. We appreciate everything he told us, and we hope that maybe we can continue to get some of this information. He didn't divulge too much information to me, but he said there was a branch office. I won't divulge anything here tonight, but he said there was a branch office where evidently one of the high officials was a renegade of the Watchtower, and he was willing to share the information with Atlantis, David, that shared it with me. David, we pray for you. We hope all goes well, and I want to thank you personally for sharing stuff with us here on the 6 screens. He liked the 6 screens. He really, really did. I never got into it, never really told you too much about it, but he really liked the 6 screens. He thought we were doing a good job. As a matter of fact, he even referred to us as, right up there with all the apostates. I believe he called me at one time the king of the apostates. Well, thank you, David. But I have to put you up. I'm gonna give you the crown. Yes, go ahead.
Just real quick, this is Thomas Hawkins, Lawrence, Kansas. Would you consider him a PMO?
Well, yeah, he was a PMO. He was a PMO. Yeah. He shared a lot of information. You heard it on the 6 screens. Shared a lot of information, Thomas, with us. It's sad. I've been sad all day over this. Really. Yeah.
Find somebody to replace him, and I also wish we could find out exactly what happened to Johnny the Bethelite. I hope it's not what we think it could be, but you never know.
Well, all these people that made a real difference. I mean, Johnny the Bethelite, he got a bad rap here on the 6 screens because he was the first one to really step out and talk about what was going on behind the curtains of the Watchtower. And because he was the first one, what happens to pioneers? Pioneers get arrows in the back. And that's what Johnny the Bethelite did. He came out. He told us what was going on. Nobody believed it at the time. They never heard such stuff. This is 10, 12 years ago. And now all of a sudden, all this stuff is coming out, how evil, how corrupt the Watchtower is, and they all believe it. But poor Johnny never got the credit that he deserved, Thomas. Yep. Well, rest in peace. He's not dead yet, but, poor Atlantis. He needs our prayers and our help. Thank you, Atlantis. All right. So I want to go into something else here. I think it's very important. When most of us listening to this program, when most of us came out of the Watchtower, like I came out in 2005, and, there was a lot of things that got me thinking about the Watchtower and why I don't want to be part of it anymore and gave up and all of that. But I won't go into that. Won't tell you my whole story. But you guys know what brought most of us out. We talked about the pyramids. We talked about the UN. We talked about Bulgaria. We talked about Malawi and, Beth Surim. These were things that brought my era, a lot of the baby boomers, out of the Watchtower. And they were startling at the time. If you want to roll the clock back 15, 20 years ago, they were very startling. And we all kind of said, wow, they're connected with the UN. Wow, this Beth Surim, a mansion that was bought by Judge Rutherford and the prophets of old were going to come back. I mean, this all shocked us, right? Friends, this is nothing compared to what's happening now in the Jehovah's Witness world, Jehovah's Witness land. We are now getting leaked videos. Yes, leaked videos. And you can see the elders training videos in action and what these bozos were actually trained to do and how to act in certain situations. Now, last week, right here in the 6 screens, we played Robbie. Poor Robbie was going to be disfellowshipped, right? And boy, they went up and down and all over the map. And finally, Robbie got disfellowshipped for having an illicit relationship with a woman. Remember, we talked about it? And the woman said, Robbie, come up and see my aquarium. That might jog you loose a little bit. But that's what we talked about last week. But now we have another video leaked. And who's ever leaking these videos, thank you. God bless you. This is helping the witness world. This is helping people leave the Watchtower. I can't put enough emphasis on it. It's more than Beth Surim. It's more than the pyramids. It's more than the UN. This is big time. You're looking at these ugly, controlling people of the Watchtower influence people in the way that cults do it. They really mess people's minds up. They rent space in your head. So I'm going to play some clips from this. Now let me just explain to you what's going on here. This is a circuit overseer training video. If you haven't seen it, stay with us. I'm going to show portions of it. You got to see it. Now, I'm going to tell you the Jehovah's Witness organization, they're having a lot of problems right now with pornography, right? I mean, worldwide, it's a real problem. It's an epidemic. There's a lot of people, not just men, not just men, but there's women too that are viewing pornography. Now, once in a while, you might stumble into it by mistake, or whoa, it kind of gets your attention. But, there are people that really feed on this. And I'm saying a lot of Jehovah's Witnesses must be doing it. They must really be deeply involved in pornography. So we have a video. Now, the person who leaked the video, it doesn't really give a time period. Some people are saying, is that back around 2002? But as I studied it and looked at it, and I got information from other people too, it appears as though it was probably made or produced in about 2021, just a few years ago. So it's a relatively new video, I believe. Now, I could go back further, but I believe it's around 2020, 2021. It's explosive. These videos that are being leaked, they're explosive videos. Now, in this particular video, this is a circuit overseer. This is a circuit overseer training video. I mean, how amazing is that to be able to see a circuit overseer training video that's been leaked? I mean, the Watchtower must hate this. Now, I'm downloading it, so I'll have it and never lose it, because, I mean, they're going to take this off as soon as they see apostates are beginning to talk about it. But let's take a look here. Let me just see. Now, many witnesses are going to leave the organization because of this, because this is just cult behavior at its highest position. And what it has to do, and we'll play the video so you'll see it here shortly. Just bear with me. But in the video, what I see is shame. The Watchtower loves to shame people. If you were disfellowshipped or reproved or reprimanded by the Watchtower, you were shamed. People hate being shamed, right? No, nobody wants to feel like a second-class citizen. But when you're shamed, that's what you feel like. You feel like a second-class citizen. Now, shame, let me just give you a little rundown on this. Shame is a mechanism that's used to control behavior. Did you know that? Yeah, it's a mechanism used to be you can really get a person to behave in some strange ways by shaming them. Now, most of us are capable of feeling shame for our own actions without anyone having to shame us. Right. Now think about this. Maybe you did something in life that you weren't too proud of, right? Maybe you said, geez, I wish I didn't do that. And you bring shame upon yourself. Well, that's okay. That's pretty normal. And you can feel bad. You can say, geez, I feel shame about that. And you don't feel good about it. You're kind of depressed for a little bit, but you get over it. But what I'm thinking here is when that shame is now brought into an arena where a lot of people are making you feel shameful. Geez, that's a lot worse, right? That's what the Jehovah's Witnesses do through the elder arrangement. So I have to tell you that Jehovah's Witnesses really are an organization that is bringing so much harm to people. They're a very, very dangerous cult. Life is tough enough. Life is hard enough. Look at right now, the poor people trying to just put food on the table, trying to pay their rent, trying to get by in life, go to work every day, and then you have to be shamed. If you're one of Jehovah's Witnesses, you've got to be shamed. Come on. Geez, life is tough enough. Well, I'm gonna play a little video here. Let's see if I can get to that video. And I want you to be able to see the video. And I think it's fantastic. Now, I'm going to take a clip here from JW Updates. Have you seen his videos? They're very, very good. So he's the one that really put the video up, and he did a little commentary on it. So let's see if we can't get that up here. And I want you to be able to see it. Just give me a second. I got a lot of things going on here right now. So we got a leaked video. So let's play the video. Excuse me. Let's see if we can't get that right now. Let me just get rid of a couple of browsers here so we can get right in there and see this. But have you guys seen some of these leaked videos? They're just absolutely amazing. Some of the things that is going on behind the Watchtower that really we never knew about, but now we're starting to find that this is all happening. So let's see if we can find that video. You have to just give me a little bit of time here, folks. It's a little difficult sometimes getting in here and finding stuff. Let's see. Okay, let's see if we can find this. Where's the video? Okay, we got to go back to the video. Let's go back to the video. Let's bring this up. We got the video here. We're going to bring it up. And JW. Okay, we got it now. So let me just get into my 6 screens video stream here, into StreamYard. And we're going to bring the video up so you'll be able to see it. So let's do that right now. I'm going to play about probably 3 minutes of it so you get the gist of it. And what the gist is, if this is an elder that feels that even though the elders previously have discussed this one particular brother, his name is Brother Johnson, he admitted that he was watching pornography. And then this brother was not satisfied with how the body of elders cut slack for him. So when the circuit overseer came around, this brother, tattletale brother, snitch brother, call him what you want, he went to the circuit overseer and said, we got to review this. We got to open up the case. So let's do this. Let's share the screen. Let me put that up here right now. It's right here. All right, I'm going to play this right now. So let's do this. Let's share it. And then we're going to play it. All right. So that's a circuit overseer. You'll see him to the right. And this is Snitch Brother. Let's call him that. He's going to the circuit overseer, and he's telling him about a brother that got slack from the body of elders for watching pornography. Let's play a couple of minutes of it at least, and you'll see what I'm talking about.
May I talk to you about something that's been bothering me?
Hold on 1 second. Let me get the sound up here so we have it.
Sure. You know, since I'm a new elder, I've been giving a lot of thought about whether I should speak up and tell you about something that recently happened on our body. I know you met with the coordinator on Tuesday before the meeting. Perhaps he shared with you that he recently confessed to viewing non-abhorrent pornography?
No, he didn't tell me.
We reviewed his qualifications, but it was decided to retain him as an elder.
When did the body meet to review his qualifications?
Brother Martin, we met about a month ago. We met for almost 4 hours, and the body was divided. A lot of strong opinions were shared. The majority felt that because he voluntarily confessed that he's still qualified to serve. But I think everyone just got tired and ultimately allowed him to continue serving.
Was this a one-time occurrence or was this a practice?
This was not a one-time occurrence. He viewed pornography multiple times over a year.
To your knowledge, has the body ever given him counsel on this matter before?
I don't know if he's ever received counsel before in the past. But you know, you mentioned to me in your last visit that no matter how large or small the issue, to always consult the Bible, the Shepherd book, and research publications. So I was a bit surprised that in that meeting, we never opened up the Bible to read a scripture or read the chapter on pornography in the Shepherd book. We should have asked the questions in that chapter, and we didn't. I really regret not speaking up about it. But I must admit, I did feel quite intimidated and outnumbered.
Well, Brother Wilson, thank you for bringing this to my attention. I appreciate that.
Okay, so what we have here is Brother Wilson.
What should I do?
Let me stop this.
Should I continue to question this newly appointed elder?
Stop that right there. So now what we have here is Brother Wilson, and he's not happy. There was a Brother Johnson in the hall that was watching pornography. And they already had a meeting on it. The elders, the body of elders had a meeting on it, and they cut Brother Johnson some slack and they let it go. But this Brother Wilson now, he's the snitch. He's saying that they should go a little bit deeper. So when the circuit overseer comes, that's the man there with the glasses. When the circuit overseer comes, he tells them, hey, look, we got to dig more into this. I mean, this is, do you like being in an environment like this? Do you like being a Jehovah? I mean, the poor pressure. The Jehovah's Witness leadership insists at times on removing elders who view pornography. Not all elders. Some elders are cut slack. They don't want them to be elders, many. But if they continue to do this, I'm telling you, there'll be nobody left in the organization to serve on the body of elders. You have so many Jehovah's Witness men, young men too, reaching out for privileges. And I can see an elder body giving a free pass to an elder who confesses watching soft pornography. And he might do that. But others they would remove. And listen, I'm going to tell you, it's not a good practice. I would suggest that, the Watchtower is correct in their positioning here. But, really, do they have to go about it this way? It's a difficult situation, but the Watchtower handles it in such a bad way. So let's move up a little bit. And so there's a circuit overseer. I believe you see him here. Let me see where we left off, and we'll bring it up. That's a circuit overseer you see on the screen right now. So let's move forward, and let's see what goes on. Now the circuit overseer is aware that Brother Johnson, who was watching pornography, was cut some slack by the body earlier. Now they're going to want to bring it back up again. So let's continue on. I want you to see it. Let's go forward.
For more information? Or should I speak to the coordinator? If I decide to speak to the coordinator, should I do it alone or have another elder with me? Is this really a matter for the entire body to meet on? And since the body has decided, is this a closed matter? Should I simply have that newly appointed elder respect the decision of the body and move on? How to proceed? I think I need to take this to Jehovah in prayer.
A few moments later.
Amen. Brother Johnson, thank you for taking the time to get with me and for your years of faithful service. I've asked Brother Williams to join us. It's come to my attention in speaking with Brother Williams and Brother Wilson on your body that you've had a problem viewing pornography many times over the past year. Is that true?
Brother Martin, this is something that deeply ashamed of and embarrassed about the whole situation. I wasn't raised as one of Jehovah's Witnesses, and having been introduced to pornography as a young person, it's been a struggle. But learning the truth, I was able to leave it behind, But in the last couple of years, things at home, it's been a challenge. My wife has entered menopause, and intimacy in our marriage has been affected. And due to that, it led me to viewing pornography. And of course, it's not an excuse, but I view heterosexual, non-abhorrent pornography too, just to let you brothers know that. But like I said,
is this really how a Christian organization would behave? Did this poor man, Brother Johnson, and let me just remind you, it seems like, does the Watchtower really think at times what they're doing here? Brother Johnson, that is another name, a Johnson, for, the male part. Why would they use the name Johnson? I don't know really what the Watchtower is up to here. They are a strange organization. Subliminally, they do all kinds of strange things. But what a terrible thing to put this man under that pressure. Yes, he does have a problem, and I don't, side in with him. Pornography is not a good thing, but people do get addicted to it. So, what it is going to do? Now, just stop and think about it. So you're a real, true believing elder. You're one that really wants to follow Jehovah. I mean, you really take it seriously. And, you love your eldership. And you want to really do the things that Jehovah wants you to do. But my goodness, some of these elders, if they just kind of had a little snippet of pornography or seen a little bit of it, that they might really be, overconscious about it, and they might feel that they have to confess immediately, and they would lose all their privileges in order to keep the relationship with Jehovah. Look at the pressure. This is what Watchtower does. They put pressure on people. They shame people, but this is not uncommon. This is what cults do. They shame people. I want you to notice as we continue playing this video, I want you to notice the cult speak, how weird it is. It's like in a monotone of speaking. Listen to the circuit overseer. Listen to the elder. It's foolish. It's insulting. It's an assault on one's intelligence when you hear this type of... is this the real world? Does the real world act like this? What would a real Christian organization do with Brother Johnson? Would they put him under this type of interrogation, this type of scrutiny? I mean, come on. Geez, like I said earlier, life is hard. Work with Brother Johnson. Brother Johnson's not an easy thing. Get over it. Let's help you with this. Geez, they're interrogating him. They're making him feel like 2 cents. Let's play more here. I want you to hear more.
It's no excuse for my behavior, but that's the situation.
Does your wife know anything about this?
No, she'd be crushed. So I hadn't told her about it. But my conscience started bothering me on this situation, and so I wanted to bring it up to the brothers and get the matter handled.
And since you met with the brothers, have there been any additional episodes viewing pornography?
Yeah, this is it's embarrassing. I'm ashamed to answer that question, Brother Martin, but yes, it's been a couple of times that since informing the brothers that I have viewed it.
Please understand that we're both here to assist you.
And Garland, we appreciate being able to speak with you openly and honestly. That takes courage. And we want Jehovah's help, but to get it, we have to follow theocratic direction as outlined for us in the Shepherd book. I thought it would be good if we read a piece of that, okay? Let's go to chapter 13, if you would. I'm going to read paragraph 6. Now, let me review with you what it says here in the first.
Well, I'm thinking they're using the shepherding book here as the Bible. This is their flagship book. They're using this to, let's see what the shepherd book says. I mean, friends, this is not the real world. No one talks or acts like this. You got to really stop and put your thinking cap on. Does the real world act like this? This is cult all over. No one acts like this in the world. It's all Jehovah's Witness cult behavior. This is how cults behave. If there's nothing else I want to extract from this, this is cult in operation. This is what they do. Shame you, make you feel like 2 cents, make you feel like you're so, bad. You're such a wicked person. I'm sure Brother Johnson, now I'm not, they're actors here, so I'm trying to, understand that. And you guys, I want you to understand too, but just kind of,
Hey, Rick?
yeah, go ahead, Dan.
Yeah, it must be a way to put more people under mind control, because you know that would be probably at pandemic proportion in the Kingdom Hall. I mean, it's pandemic proportion. I mean, you imagine going into a school or something and micromanaging a bunch of teenagers. You'd have to close down the school. Like you said, Rick, take this out of this freak show, Watchtower, and take it out into the real world. You'd have to close down schools. You'd have to close down hospitals. You'd have to close everything down. This is not the real world. But I think it's a way to put them under guilt, to put them under mind control, because right away they're subjecting them, like you said, to this new book or the shepherding book. And I just, like you said, Rick, it's insanity. You imagine the circuit overseer, walking away from that brother who snitched him off going, what should I do? Should I go home? Should I go to the brother? Should I pray to Jehovah? Should I go to... It was like that when I was in there. You're totally in your head 24/7. Should I went out more in service? Oh my God, I masturbate, or John, or what do you call it? Johnson. I don't know what it's called, but yeah, but you know what I'm saying? But it's like, Rick, this is not, I had to laugh when you said it. This is not the real world. This is psychopath. You don't micromanage teenagers. You don't do this. And I imagine the guy, you imagine the threat. Did you tell your wife? Oh, well, yeah, sort of, kind of, yes and no. Well, let's see what Jehovah said. I can't wait to find out what the shepherding book says about that. Do you know if he gets snitched off to his wife, Rick, or what does he do? The 12 steps don't even snitch you off to your wife. I mean, you can go into a 12-step, celebrate recovery, and tell them anything you want. They're not going to bring your wife in. Thank God. I mean, you know what I mean?
Oh, it's unbelievable. See, Dan, this is the thing. When you and I came out, it was Beth Sareem, it was the pyramids, it was the UN. Now we got leaks like this. Now, if you were a witness watching this, wouldn't this kind of like, what the heck is going on here? Is that how they really handle things, Yeah,
it's like crazy. It's like, but they did a clip, me and Angela, when we were just listening, we realized they did a clip at the assembly, and it was very similar. It was about, how soon should we let a guy back? Should we let him back 6 months? Should we let him back a year? I think we should wait. And it was like, my God, like the Bible says, please, please don't let me fall into the hands of men. Who was that prophet who said that? One of them in the Bible says, please, God, you judge me. Don't let me fall into the hands of, he might say Watchtower, right? But you can see what happens when you fall into the hands. These guys are like, you're like a piece of clay from that point forward, and they just keep squeezing you and squeezing you. Brother Clark, we're going to have to take away some privileges. It's obviously you're entertaining wrong thoughts, Brother Clark. We're going to have to take further steps, Brother Clark. This is not a real world, Rick. You said it. Here's the thing I was going to say regarding why people are exposing them. People want people to know how crazy these people are. And Rick, every day I go online, I see new people fired up, can't wait to get their YouTube channel going, can't wait to start exposing these guys and slapping this governing body around. A lot of people now are going after governing body. They're sick of them. They're sick of their lying. They're sick of their false prophecies. They're sick of their shit. They're sick of their stealing their property. They're sick. They're stealing them blind. They're leaving them with an iPad and an internet connection. They're selling their halls to whoever the hell they want, to marijuana clinics, to churches, all the things we were told were pagan and stay out of. I mean, people are mad. I talked to a guy the other day, I won't mention his name, but he was an attorney, and he said he punched out an elder. He went into a hall, and an elder touched him on the nose with his finger. And he said he laid him out, and 3 elders dragged him out of there. He's an attorney. He got his thing after he got out of there. But people aren't letting these people push him around anymore. They're not afraid of governing body. They're not afraid of elders. They're not afraid of none of this. Angela wants to say something, Rick.
I just want to add that the oppressed become the oppressor, right? And am I wrong, you guys? Is the Shepherd book the same as the Flock book? Is that the same thing?
Yes.
Yes? Okay, well, here's the thing. This is my guess. everybody's starting to talk about that flock book all the time.
It's a newer copy of it.
Yeah, and so I really feel like that they're so upset about people knowing and having gotten their hands on that shepherd book, that flock book, that they're now trying to defend and cover up the mystique so no one will ask any more questions because it's just that bad on how they were to deal with the people. So they're trying to take it away, the mystique of what's in that book anyway, by just exposing it out loud so they'll quit bothering them about it and not look into it. But that book is really wretched, how they deal with people. So anyway.
Yeah, and one other thing, Rick, I want to make a point. Those elders, the reason they're doing all this with, these elders demonstrating, this elders in the meeting, and they're showing the Congress, they're showing it at the assembly. Here's an elders meeting. Here's what our dear elders got to go through. What they're telling the people is quit beating the shit out of the elders. Quit attacking the elders. Quit questioning the elders. The elders are going through a lot of work to save your souls. The presiding overseer, look at how heavy this was on him. Us from the outside, we're saying you guys are insane, you guys are stupid, you're micromanaging, you're wasting lots of time. Let the man go through his journey of masturbation, let him work it out. Don't micromanage him. But they have nothing better to do. So, people on the outside are just going, oh my God, these guys are nuts. This is actually, Rick, you said it, a whole nother world. This is the real world.
Well, thank you, Dan. Thank you, Dan and Angela, both for weighing in on this. It's really a disgusting thing to see the organization behaving like this, but they're not the only ones. Mormonism does the same thing. The Scientologists do the same thing. It's something that we're going to see that happens in the cults. Did someone else want to speak up? You're on with us. Go ahead. Hit *6. Yeah, go ahead.
I am unmuted. Oh,
yeah, here you go. Okay, Zach. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me just say this about those books. The older one, Pay Attention to Yourselves in the Flock. That's the one they call the Flock book. And the Shepherd book is a newer one that they now use, I guess.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say about that. They started talking, getting detailed about this, this idea of pornography in, I believe it was a Kingdom Ministry School in around 2005. While you were showing this, I remembered that I had a notebook that I used to take notes at the assemblies and at some of the at a Kingdom Ministry School. And I remember there was, their discussion about pornography is in that book. I want to just share with you some of what they said there. They mentioned uncleanness, and it's my notes, which are sketchy. It says that uncleanness is listed with loose conduct and pornea. Some uncleanness is disfellowshipping offense. So sometimes uncleanness is not considered a disfellowshipping offense. So every time you hear the word uncleanness, doesn't mean you have to set up a judicial committee, in their practice. Then I got down to where my note says pornography. That seems to be the discussion. It's just 2 points. It's when, and they were just talking about when do you need to set up a judicial committee so as to determine whether or not to disfellowship a person. If you have no judicial committee, a person would never be disfellowshipped. Okay, here it is. The first point says, what if someone viewed porn on the internet, they did what the society used to call self-abuse. Well, that's not uncleanness with every sort of greediness. So that's uncleanness. And then my note says no judicial action. So in that case, there would be no judicial action. That was their practice back then. But then I have here many years. So someone viewing pornography for many years, and the pornography could have included child porn, or I have the word gang rape. So that's what they said, gang rape. If it included that kind of stuff, then they mentioned Ephesians 4:19, and they said that is not brazen because it's not so open, but a judicial committee should be set up in that case. And then there's another point I have where I've added inviting others to view it is brazen conduct. So they were at that school trying to tell elders how to work with this subject, because it was kind of new, if you ask me, working with it. And those were some of the different things they mentioned. So just to say, they started talking about that back in, well, before 2005, but at the Kingdom Ministry School in 2005, they discussed it in detail. And I wrote what I could keep up with, I wrote it down.
Well, very good, Zach. Thank you for sharing that with us. I mean, it's.
Can I speak up?
Yes, love to hear from you. Go ahead, sister.
Okay. My husband was an elder. I called in a couple weeks ago about, I think 90% of the people aren't actually gung-ho on the witnesses. It was me. But anyway, I looked one time, this was at an assembly several years ago. The district overseer gave the last talk, and he was talking about viewing pornography, and he said it could lead to sin. Viewing pornography could lead to sin. So I went and approached him after the assembly was over, and I couldn't believe it, because in my mind, viewing pornography is a sin. Okay, so I went home and I looked up everything I could possibly look up, and it's in the shepherding book too. Like that last man just said, if they show it to somebody else, they can get disfellowshipped. If it's abhorrent, if it's like people getting hurt, raped and that kind of thing, if they could get disfellowshipped. They could get disfellowshipped if the porn is between homosexuals. They could get, if it's just between a man and a woman, they don't actually give a green light to it. So if your wife goes on your computer and sees that you've been viewing pornography, and the wife, some women look at it too, but if a wife sees that her husband is viewing pornography, she's, could be very upset, very angry, hurt, et cetera, et cetera. Talks to the elders, and the elders will go, well, it could lead to sin. In other words, it could lead to adultery. They do not consider porn a sin unless it's homosexuals or more than one person, or if it's rape or that kind of thing, then they consider it a sin. They actually give a green light to people. Now, I was told by an elder that even circuit overseers have been caught looking at pornography. My view is that if they were to consider it a sin, there's so many men, especially young men, maybe even older men, that look at it. There wouldn't be that many men left if they considered it a sin and disfellowship them. Now, I haven't seen this video, but I think that's what they're trying to get at. Like I said, I haven't seen this video, but I think that's what they're trying to get at. What kind of pornography was it? Did they show it to anybody else? And now, from what I've gathered in the Shepherd the Flock book, that they can even be caught looking at child porn, and they're not necessarily going to do anything to them. So that's my thoughts.
Well, thank you.
I tell you, I looked up everything I could look up, and it's not a sin to look at just plain old, according to Watchtower, plain old porn.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
let me comment. Can I comment on that? I think they referred to soft porn, and the question is whether or not there would be a judicial committee set up, and they would not set up a judicial committee. I never understood it not to be a sin, you know what I mean? But in the other point where it mentions in my notes where it says including child porn, that's when they would need to set up a judicial committee. And so you would very possibly be disfellowshipped.
Yeah, no, I looked at the flock book from a couple of years ago, and I saw that even if they did child porn, they could possibly not get disfellowship for it. That's what I saw, but then I haven't been keeping up with it for probably 3 years. The flock book.
Well, Zach, she's right. Well, Zach says,
because my last time looking at these notes, well, these notes were taken in 2005, so they're old, you know.
Yeah.
There's so many there's so many people that look at it today that I think they would have to really. I mean, I think there's so many of them. They would lose so many elders if they disfellowshipped them for it. That's my thinking.
well, thank you, sister. Thank you very much for coming on and voicing your opinion. We always love to hear from you. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Yeah, we have got. Hold on 1 second. In fact, when they did bring up circuit overseers viewing porn, I knew of a circuit overseer. In fact, I knew him not personally, but he's very close. I knew a personal. I knew this man. He was in the congregation next to me, and he was into pornography. So it's not unusual to see this. Go ahead. You're on with us. Go ahead.
Yeah, Rick. How you doing, buddy?
Good, Eric. Yeah.
I was just going to say that no one's brought this up. Actually, the sister brought up a lot of good points, but she said that she read the book that was 2 or 3 years old. It's completely updated. They've been updating it like crazy. It is absolutely a disfellowshipping matter, possibly for child porn. And no one's brought this up, that they consider homosexual and child porn as the same. Isn't that disgusting? Because child porn is a crime. It's not a sin. It's a crime. It's illegal. You can, Jared, remember the Subway guy? He's gone in prison making sandwiches for people. I found out he works in the kitchen and makes sandwiches. Go figure. That's his destiny, which is fine by me. But yeah, nobody's brought that up, and I think it's just sick and twisted the way the organization views sex in general. I've told this story before on my show, but I'll just remind the people that we had an elder that broke into a young man's house, my good friend Jacob. He broke into his house. He knew the landlord, and he convinced the landlord to open up, and he went through his entire home, and while he wasn't there, and he found Girls Gone Wild, softcore, not even porn. Back then in those days, it wasn't even lesbian or anything. It was just girls whipping out their boobs. I mean, really, he broke the law to look for softcore porn. Congratulations, you found it. My buddy wanted to press charges, and his buddy, our mutual friend, the friend of the son of the elder, he begged him not to put his dad in jail, and not press charges. He just begged him, and finally he just let it go. But he should have. He should have put him in prison for it. But I was just going to mention that I think these guys are all sexually starved, and they're all secretly perverted, men and women in this organization. They certainly do. I mean, this brother that broke into the home, he shamed sisters for having figures. And this guy, he ended up getting a really bad, he ended up getting bad karma, and he killed himself. He drank himself to death, and he got disfellowshipped twice for it. And, this is our elders. Trust the elders, trust the brothers. These are the guys we're trusting. Thanks, Rick.
Well, thank you, Eric. Well,
Can I come on?
go ahead, Emery. Yep.
Rick, please forgive me for interrupting. About 8 minutes ago, Kim of Kim and Mikey on YouTube just posted very upsetting news that our good friend Atlantis, who's been helping us all out, has been fighting pretty bad brain cancer for years, and now he's, I guess, in the final stages. He's in the hospital. He's in hospice. They said he's just going to go into a coma and he's going to die. So I was just hoping everybody could be aware. I think all of us know by now. We are familiar with Atlantis, how he has been working hard over the years to get the information, insider information of the Watchtower into our hands. And I just hope everybody can be aware. Thank you.
Well, Anne-Marie, we just discussed that. That was the story before this.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. We just discussed all of that. Yeah. Okay. So that's good. Kim and Mike did it. That's good. But we also did it here. So we just discussed that a few minutes ago. Thank you, Emery. All right. So, anyways, we got more going on here on the 6 screens of the Watchtower. Thank you for being with us tonight. When this poor brother Johnson, here he is being, he admitted that he's, watching pornography, and so he confessed to the elders that he did that. But this isn't even like a Catholic confessional. Were you a Catholic? Do you know about the Catholic confessionals? Well, you go into a booth, you kneel down, you confess some sins, whether it be major or whether it be minor, and you're anonymous. You're anonymous. Nobody knows who you are. Well, there's a priest, and there's a curtain between you. He doesn't know who you are, but, he gives you some assignments after you confess what your sin is. He gives you some assignments to work on and kind of get through what the problem would be. And, this is altogether different than how the Jehovah's Witnesses do it. It's not right. It's really not right. I mean, the priest does not even know who you are. But in the Jehovah's Witness world, when you come forward and confess, what happens is everyone knows your problem. You got 3 or 4 elders, they gossip, their wives find out about it. So before you know it, everybody in the congregation knows that you're watching pornography. I mean, how bad is that? I mean, any sin, it doesn't have to be pornography, but it could be anything. So the confessions in Catholicism are way different than the confessions in the Jehovah's Witness organization. Nothing is confidential. Nothing is confidential. And eventually some people in the whole circuit, well, they'll find out about your private problem, right? I mean, that's how it works in the Jehovah's Witnesses. Really, I mean, it's a gossip bed. People spread gossip like crazy. So I believe that, Catholics somewhat have it right. If someone wants to, at least come in and confess their sins and get it off their shoulders, confess to a priest. He doesn't know who you are. There's a screen between both of you. But, you can at least get it off your shoulders. But that's not the case in the Jehovah's Witness world. Hey, let's listen into a little bit more of the circuit overseer, what they have to say. And I want to say JW Updates. I want to thank him for this video. JW Updates, he's a very good job. He's a great YouTuber. Thank you, JW Updates. I want to give you the credit for this video. Thank you. All right, let's play it on.
First 3 points that are made. There's more, but we'll just take the first 3, okay? Body of elders may determine that the person still qualifies to serve in an appointed position if 1, his involvement consisted of a few brief viewings of non-abhorrent forms of pornography. 2, he displays a heartfelt desire to desist from looking at pornography. And 3, the elders are convinced that he will refrain from viewing it. Now, I know that the elders met with you, reviewed your qualifications, but since this matter really is more than a few brief viewings, and since there's been recent relapses, we're going to need to look at your qualifications all over again Friday night at the elders meeting.
Wow. I didn't expect that, especially considering the fact that we've already went through the whole process. But I'm willing to cooperate to set matters straight. I have no problem with it.
Garland, let me reassure you that the review of these things is being done with your best interest at heart and that of your dear wife. Let's offer a prayer to Jehovah, shall we?
Sure.
A few moments later.
Brothers, I want you to know that Brother Wilson.
Well, in fact, we'll move forward here. We got a lot to cover here, but we have to let this one go. But Brother Johnson, the one that was viewing pornography, guess what? He got removed. So this is how they handle things. How how shameful it is in many respects. You know, they humiliate people, they shame people, and this is how the Watchtower works. But poor Brother Johnson, he got the axe, so to speak, didn't get this fellowship, but he was removed. But you know, I would think that one judicial committee hearing, which he was in, cut him some slack. I mean, I'm not coming in from a real different standpoint here, but I'm thinking that, you know, let him go. They already had one commission. They already had one judicial. Well, not it wasn't judicial committee, but one body of elders committee meeting on it. Let him go, but you know they didn't. Okay, you're on 6 screens. Okay, so
Something?
yeah, go ahead, Shirley.
Yeah, I was going to say I was holding on for a while. I remember back in the early '90s, I guess it was a sister in the hall back back in the day told me, and I'm sure she's not the only one that saw this. So, and how did she see it? She told me that, oh, there's a somebody told me that there's a porn movie out there, and in the back, like the script, the publications with the orange and the different color books. And he said, oh, there's a porn movie out there. And somebody told me that in the background, you can see the publications from the organization, which I wouldn't doubt for no reason. But number one, if Jehovah's Witnesses aren't supposed to watch, how did the word get around that, oh, there's whoever was in this movie, this porn movie, they had the publications in the back. And another thing is about, and I know I mentioned this here, maybe it was 10 years ago or something on MTV. They did a little documentary thing about somebody, but once again, I think these two people, I want to say one was a heroin addict, whatever, and to keep her addiction going, she did porn, and they mentioned something about JWs, and I think that was kind of not widely publicized, but it kind of got out that they were raised as JWs, I'll just say, and that kind of got out. And I think I mentioned that back in the day, it could have been 10 years ago, that this person was raised a JW, and now they're, needless to say, they weren't more, they had a heroin addiction, they did porn to keep their addiction going. But who's this? I mean, like the scripture says, we are weak of the flesh. So I mean, I'm sure many elders, brothers, sisters, teenage boys and girls have watched porn, but they come down on you like, you killed somebody's mother or something. I'm sure that goes on, even I bet the elders sitting there persecuting others, I'm sure they probably watched a few porn videos or similar themselves.
Well, that's true, Shirley. My goodness gracious. No, I mean, you picked up on that, and I have to agree with you.
Yeah, it's nothing new. I mean, like I said, we get a flesh. People do things they're not supposed to do, and they try to hide it, even in the organization.
Yeah. Well, surely you know the organization as well as I do. You've been as long as I have. You know that's a deceptive, fraudulent organization. Thank you, Shirley, for calling in. Thank you. All right, you're on 6 screens. Anything further you want to say? Go ahead.
Comment again?
Go ahead. Yep.
Thank you. Along those lines of hiding sexual issues, there was a Jehovah's Witness who has now left, and she said that she had a Jehovah's Witness friend who brought a study to the circuit assembly, and this person that she brought to the circuit assembly happened to be the owner of a brothel. And they were sitting there and listening to the speaker, and the study, who was the owner of a brothel, kind of started really staring at the speaker, and then she nudged the sister who had brought her there, and she said, that's one of our regular customers. I know him. And I think that there is a lot of hanky-panky going on in this clean organization. Thank you, brother.
Well, thank you, Anne Marie. Well, my goodness, I think we'll end it there. We'll do some, we got our duck. Nobody said the secret word tonight, so why don't you guys stay with us? We got Dick and Connie coming up next. Did you want to say something? Go ahead, sir.
Hey, Rick, you didn't see my phone. This is Gilbert.
Yeah.
Hey, I agree with everything, 100% everybody's saying. But I am of the philosophy that if everyone is thinking alike, no one is thinking. That's from George Patton. And there's a phrase that's called boob bait for the bubbas that is known in the political realm. And what it is the politicians on all sides, what they do is they'll have bubbas. Bubbas can be a group of people. It could be white men. It could be black females. It could be anything, any group of people, Jewish, Christian, nationalist, whatever. And you give them bait for the bubbas. And then people start reacting to whatever bait you're giving them, and people react. So what I'm saying is that what I'm questioning is these leaked videos. God bless everyone who gets these videos and puts them out. But what I'm trying to say is this: it's common knowledge that if you're gonna rob a bank, the old-fashioned way is you burn a building across the street, and then you rob the bank when the building across the street is on fire. So isn't it a coincidence? All I'm saying is this: isn't it a coincidence that Watchtower is giving sexual videos of disfellowshipping because of pornography? And then what's going to happen? Well, the apostates are going to eat it up. So my question is, it's a 50-50 chance. It's 50% that it really was leaked, but it's also a possibility that Watchtower is leaking these things on purpose and putting these things out on purpose, because there's other news. And I've seen this before where Jehovah's Witness apostates, everybody runs to one story, and then another Watchtower story that has real ramifications, like, stealing kingdom halls and others, kind of gets lost in the mud, in the commotion. So let's say, for example, Watchtower is going to sell 10 kingdom halls in a state of Pennsylvania, let's just say. And so what do? They do food bait for the bubbas. Who are the bubbas? The apostates. We're the bubbas. So they give us a porn video, and then they say that it's leaked. So somebody like Jimmy, the Bethelite, not Johnny, because Johnny's legit, but Jimmy is not legit. And Jimmy, he leaks out a video, but it's really designed to keep other people from to wag the dog per se. So I'm not saying that's what it is here, but every time you see stuff like this, remember, the person that's listening to right now this show, the person that's listening to me is an honest person, a decent person. You're not evil. Watchtower is evil. They think evil. That's why you don't think this way. That's why what I'm saying never crossed your mind, because you don't think like an evil person. You think like a normal human being, a loving person. But what I'm trying to tell you is that when you've been around, and this is true, you've been around Watchtower a long time, Rick, these people, they'll sacrifice their own children to Molech. They're evil people, the governing body, the leaders. And so all I'm saying is always, whenever we hear things like this, always, say, hey, what else is happening? Am I being played? And I do, like I said, I do agree with what everybody said, Rick, 100%. I agree with all the comments. But I'm just wondering if they're stealing the bank while we're looking at the fire. Does that make any sense?
Well, a lot of sense. Gilbert, you are on the ball. You are a man that's on the ball. Now, you'll be coming on tonight. I'll send you a link. You'll have that link in the next half hour, okay? Okay. Looking forward to you. Okay. You're coming on the 6 screens. Thank you. All right. Very good. So anyways, you're on the 6 screens of the Watchtower. JW World News. We appreciate your presence. Who else would like to speak up? And if not, we're going to go to Jeopardy questions. We have some questions that we want you to answer and win some points. If not, if no one wants to speak up right now, so let's go to that. What did you think of that video leak? That was amazing. I love it. I want to thank the person that's doing it. They're not saying who it is, but thank you very much. God bless you. You're helping so many people. All right, let's go to Jeopardy. We have questions tonight, and they have to deal with the Watchtower. Nobody said the secret word tonight. That's amazing to me. Nobody said the secret words. So let's get in and let's see if you guys can do it. I'll give you some clues. Now you will get points. You will get points to win this book. Millions Now Living Will Never Die. We've got so many publications here we're going to give you. You can win this book. It's called it's Captives of a Concept by Don Cameron. We got other prizes. We got T-shirts. We got hats. We got gift certificates to McDonald's. Did you want to say something? Go ahead. Did you want to say something, sister? Go ahead. Okay, so you're on with. Go ahead. All right. Maybe not. So, okay, let's go on. What we'll do is we're gonna get some clues. We had some secret words nobody talked about tonight, but we get some secret clues here tonight. So what we'll do is we're going to play the Jeopardy music. When the Jeopardy music stops, you can answer. If you answer before that, you're disqualified, but you will get points. Now, what I want you to do is keep track of the points. I can't do it for you. We got a lot of things going on here. So you keep score of the points, and then let me know. But the more points you get, the better the prize. We even have $100 prize. So the more points you get, the better it will be. So okay, let's ask a question. Let's ask our first question tonight. Did you want to say something? Go ahead. Everyone who's on the line right now, I know you have the lines open. Just kind of keep quiet a little bit so there won't be some confusion. So let's go with this. Hold on one second. Hold on. Let me make sure we got the right stuff coming up here. Okay. All right. So this question is, listen, the Jehovah's Witnesses have tried different things here in the last few years. The parking attendants have wore.
I'll call you back.
Hold on. We got a lot of people talking here. It's interfering. So please just, keep yourself muted until you can answer. So we have some questions we're going to ask you tonight. We want you to win some points. No one said them tonight during the program. So let's go with this. Okay. Okay. I'm getting echoing here. Someone's got there. Okay. All right. So the parking attendants, when you go to a convention this summer, they're wearing a vest. What color? Don't you answer until I play and stop the music. What color is the vest the parking attendants are using at the conventions this year? Hold on one second. So what color vest?
Green. Green.
Nope.
Orange.
Nope.
Blue.
Nope.
Oh.
Red.
Nope.
Black.
Nope.
Yellow.
Well, I'm going to go with yellow. Who said yellow?
Dan.
Alan from Florida.
Well, I think Dan had it first. Dan, mark it. Give yourself a point, Dan. But the real color is chartreuse. But I'll go with yellow. It's close enough. So that's good. All right. So all right. Give yourself a point, Dan. Mark it down. I'm not going to keep score. I want you to be honest. Keep score. The more points you get, the more prizes you'll get. We got $100 prize here as well. All right. So let's back up here. Let's ask another question. So, okay. All right. So we have Kingdom Halls all over the world, and they have security systems. And, what is the code? What is the password to get into the security system? Let's play the Jeopardy music, and then you can answer. Let's play it. So what's the most popular password?
14.
Who said that?
14.
Who said that?
Hubler.
Eric, you won a prize. Okay, go ahead. Eric, you won a prize. Take a point. Put it down on your notebook.
That was the code to get in our Kingdom Hall.
Well, that's.
I think it's for everyone's Kingdom Hall, the security code.
I think it is. It's not much of a security code, but thank you, Eric. Mark that down. I want you to mark that down. Keep your points. You guys have to do it for me. I can't do it for you. So keep your points.
Hey, don't forget we know the secret knocks to get into the bunker.
Yeah. Yeah. So the secret. All right, good. Thank you. All right. So, okay, let's go on here. All right. So anyways, we all carried as Jehovah's Witnesses. Now listen closely. We all well, hold on. What's going on here? Okay. We all carried something that I would call the suicide card. Can someone tell me? Wait till the music stops. When the music stops, hold on 1 second. I'm going to disqualify people who brought it up earlier. So, what was the suicide? Hold on. I'm going to disqualify Shirley. You came in too early. I hate to say that. I want you to win a prize, but Shirley came in too early. So, what was the card? Go ahead.
No blood transfusion.
Blood card.
I said blood card.
Who said blood card? The woman.
I did. Nadine.
Nadine, you won it.
I said that a long time ago.
Okay, I know you did. I heard that. So you put a point down, okay? So hold on to those points. Put a point. When you get those points, we have $100 prize here, okay? So hold on to the point. Okay, so hold on to the point. Okay, so she got it. Okay, so let's go back. We got a few more. Then we're going to Dick and Constance. So let's go a couple more here. Okay, let's do this. Hang on. I'm going to ask a question. See if you guys can answer it, and see if you can get some points. Okay, so we have got this. Hold on 1 second. All right, so, there's the card work. Jehovah's Witnesses do the card work. They do informal witnessing. But what was the witness work that was really the most treacherous, the most difficult? What work was the most difficult?
Missionary work.
Hold on.
Street witnessing.
Letter writing.
Well, I'll tell you what. I like that letter writing. That wasn't the answer, but that was. Well, telephone was hard too. Did someone say do it to do? Well, Shirley, if you said, I think Shirley was first. Shirley, give yourself a point. Give yourself a point, okay?
Yeah, I have two. One from this week, and now I have 2 points. Okay.
Well, give you points now because I'm not going to track them. So when you get to 10 points, you can win $100. Okay. So let's see what happens. So, all right, let's. But we have T-shirts, we have hats. But the first one that gets to 10 points gets $100. Okay. So all right. So let's go on here. All right. So let's see what else we have here. All right. Let me do this one. Hold on 1 second. Okay. So when you were a little kid, maybe in the first or second grade, how humiliating, how difficult it was to go to school. I mean, some of the kids wouldn't even go to school. They would kind of skip it because of what would go on in the very first class that they attended. Hold on. Let's play it. Let's go on right now. You tell me why they were humiliated. So why were children humiliated?
No flag salute.
Birthdays or holidays.
I'm looking at YouTube. I think the person that came with it first, I really do, is Keith Silver. He's on YouTube. He's in the chat. Keith, you won a prize. Give yourself a point. Give yourself a point, Chief. Okay, Keith, you got a point. I think you were first. I'm trying to listen to all of it and trying to, put the people in the right perspective. But I think Keith was first, so we'll go with Keith. Okay, one more, and then we're gonna move on. So let's do this. Okay. When Jehovah's Witnesses first came into existence back in the 1930s, a lot of people were really wondering why did we change the name to Jehovah's Witnesses? What were they known of before that? Hold on one second. So what were they known of?
International Bible students.
All right. Who said? I'm gonna.
A lot of us said it all at once.
I had
Russell.
Russell. Well,
Bible students right away.
Well,
international Bible students.
well. I'm gonna go with Bible students. They were known more. Who said Bible students? Eric. So Eric got it. Yeah, they were known as Bible students. Yeah, they were. All right. Well, listen, that's good. All right.
They still exist.
Yeah. So what you do, Eric, is mark put it down. Each point, each time you answer, you get a point. When someone gets 10 points, they get $100. But we got other gifts too. And next week I'll reveal the other gifts. We got T-shirts, we got hats, we got buttons, we got pins, we got magnets, we got all kinds of stuff. So next week I'll reveal it all, but $100 for the first one that reaches 10. So mark it down so that we know. I'll be glad to give the $100 away. Really, seriously, we have fun with this game, so let's keep playing it. So, anyways, we got Dick and Connie, D and C. They're coming up next right here on the Six Screens Tele Network. So why don't we go to their program? I want to thank everyone for coming into JW World News tonight. Now, listen, I want you guys all to stand tall. Don't you ever give up. Don't you ever give out. Keep waving the flag of victory. Never let your visions die. And the last one, leaving the Watchtower, please turn off the new light. Thank you very much. We're now going to DNC right here on the Six Screens Tele Network. All right, let's go over now. I'm going to end this here.